So the Riverina is a national resilience hub. Let's talk specifics. The region contributes to national food security. Riverina crops and livestock feed Australia and much of our region. I've just been through a lengthy process with the agricultural industry with a colleague of mine, Andrew Henderson, preparing a green paper that both government and opposition have supported. The fact is that the nation believes that we're a net food producer, and it's true. But that does not mean our food systems are not vulnerable to disruption. Workforce and skills, partnerships between Defence, CSU, TAFE and industry produce technical talent at scale. But when we talk about future mobilisation, sudden changes, economic coercion, we are going to see paradigm shifts in where workforces need to be. And those new workforces will need to be able to be created quickly and with efficiency. We have to ensure critical infrastructure is functional, sovereign and secure. And in this sense, Riverina becomes more than just a defence partner. It becomes an enabler of national power. This region has proven time and again that it can train the nation's warfighters, it can host strategic assets, and it can build sovereign skills. Between exercises at Bandiana Logistics Group, it is part of global deterrence.
But that's what my job is. Here I don't see that. I see much more, and it struck me when we were preparing for this, that was the case. In 10 to 15 years' time, I would like to see that that young entrepreneurs here are really looking at how they can develop technology that can be used by Defence and elsewhere, that a young person here feels as empowered to do innovation here as they would if they were in Sydney and Melbourne. You see that continued relationship between Defence, understanding that it has a role to play, not just in terms of playing footy and those sorts of things, but it's a true part of the economy here, and it has a responsibility inside and outside the wire about that economy. And third is, I want to see really strong, resilient communities, because we face, as I was saying before, really, you'll hear it in every news article. If you read the Australian newspaper, it's at least 2 op-eds every day. We've faced some of the most uncertain times this country has faced since the 1930s, and not just in terms of conflict, but climate change, economic coercion. I could sit there and go with the lists. So I was a thriving centre of Riverina that sits there and leverages off the opportunities that Defence provides.
5,000 applications across domestic Australia, which is quite something. So in terms of my responsibilities and linking that to NDS imperatives, it's doing our bit to train and grow our workforce as quickly as we can, as efficiently as we can, so that we can meet those key objectives. At RAAF Base, we not only do initial military training, we also do specialised training. So we're doing aviation technical training for our aviators, our sailors and our soldiers. It's a 12-month course, so they're long-termers here. We also do some of our supply and logistics training, engineering, administrative, but RAAF Base is also home of professional military education, and we see 2,000 Air Force people cycle through RAAF Base every year. So at this present day, we're currently sitting at a population at the base of around 1,800, but we are continually to incrementally grow. So my responsibility is to make sure that we can absorb that workforce growth, do it sustainably, do it resourcefully, acknowledging that we are stewards, I guess, of the Commonwealth's purse strings, so that we can also contribute and generate workforce to contribute immediately to that capability. Thank you.
Drone warfare is fitting into that. The baseline for an Australian soldier will continue to evolve based on what the threat is dictating and what the operational environment largely we need to prepare for. And that is telling us that it is our near region right now, which is surrounded by water. We'll be required to use air platforms, both Blue as an Air Force and Army aviation capabilities to leapfrog between islands. We'll be required to be littorally more proficient on and off boats a lot more. and simple things like increasing our survivability through enhanced medical training. And so we're doing that now because the places we go will not have a hospital. And so we therefore need to be able to teach ourselves to be able to do the things we'd normally rely on a medic to do, because that is what we owe our soldiers to increase their chance of survival. In my 25 years of service, I haven't been in a community that supports its military personnel as well as what Wagga does here. And we've got representatives here from Pro Patria, with the RSL, we've got Legacy, we've got Life Care. They're actively involved in everything. And I think one of the value propositions that the Riverina has and extends down south is just the cost of living here. And so why wouldn't, like we've, just from our military people alone, out of Kapooka, just over 400 people, we've got just under $40 million worth of wages coming in. A wage here goes so much further than what it does in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane. And so I know myself, fuel's like 50 cents cheaper here than what it is in Canberra. So that the cost of living is here, so the employment is there and it'll come. It's only the ability to challenge those national assertions that housing affordability is pricing everyone out of the market. It is if you want to live in Paddington and Sydney, but living here in the Riverina, we've got sport out the wazoo. You can travel up and down the highway to see all the pop culture concerts if you want to. The schooling's great, it's connected, it's vibrant, and there's employment opportunities across most sectors. So I think that's the value proposition to keep people here. Encourage them for the good schooling, the good housing, and the tourism aspects, and everything else will flow.
I am in the third year of being the Commandant of the Army Logistic Training Centre, and I have never been embraced or been included or connected to a community as much as I have in this job. I will finish up at the end of this year, and it will be a sad moment for me. I've never done 3 years in a job, and I was happy that I was able to do it in this job. The community has really embraced me as the senior ADF officer in the Albury-Wodonga Military Area, but the benefits that defence and the mutual benefits that the community give defence have come to the forefront in my time here. Thank you.
Much in that. Innovation, we are supporting this in region and we should continue, but think about it also with a defence lens. There are opportunities for ag, manufacturing, supply chain and defence, and they can be a catalyst for each other. They can leverage off each other. Trade training, high level technical trade training that includes coding and understanding of advanced computer programming. This sounds a lot like what I'm hearing that agriculture is also after. Another opportunity for that leverage, and maybe some more training centres that focus on that in region. This also has implications not only for tertiary training design, but also for our secondary schools and parents about how they advise their students and children.